All right, but first, I'm excited to finally bring you the stories that I was working on a few weeks ago. As you may remember, I took a trip out to California to Pixar Animation Studios. It's so large, it's actually called a campus, which is really cool. Here's some video of it. That's what you see when you first walk in, that famous Pixar lamp, right? Inside the lobby there, they actually have a display case of all the Oscars. I don't know, there must have been, and Golden Globes, there must have been 20 awards, I think, in there, which is really cool. What I really love, though, is getting a chance to meet all the employees who work at Pixar, how creative they are. I mean, it really is. It was such a cool experience to be there. I had a chance actually to go in the Archive Center as well to actually see some of the, which, believe it or not, they actually, it's not just because you think animation, you'd think just on, you know, on the screen. They actually sculpt some of these characters as well to kind of to go with the creative process as well. But one of the coolest things I got to do is sit down and talk with Brad Bird. He's the director and voice of Edna, and John Walker, who's the producer of Incredibles 2 as well. It was a pretty interesting conversation about Pixar and who they actually make movies for. The answer might surprise you. So take a look.
I can't steer it or stop it, and the Underminers escape.
We'll have to stop it for Bob, the monorail.
So this is a long time coming. It feels like this is the last step to get it on DVD and in homes, right? How are you feeling about everything today?
Well, I think that, you know, movies have a short time in the theater, and although I love that experience and that's what I'm aiming for, that's the ideal way for me to see a movie, I recognize, and we recognize, that movies spend this much time in the theaters and they spend eternity in the ether where they're easily accessible. And there's a downside to that. It's that people can skip stuff, they can pause, they can text, they can go, you know, let the dog out or whatever, and that's not an ideal situation for a storyteller. You want people to be all in, but if people have an intimate experience with a movie, you know, turn the lights out, make a little block of time where they can see it, then it becomes something that's more magical, and it becomes like a book or a great album that you were listening to, or a symphony, or then it becomes something where you have a personal relationship with something, and that I think it'll do well in that environment.
Well, and I think there's something. My kids are 6 and 4, and I think there's something to be said with what you guys are doing here at Pixar. Is it goes through the generations, right? It's only in the theater for so long, then it comes home, and as new generations, new kids grow older, it's like it's a brand new story, and there's got to be something in the storytelling that lasts. That you know, you want to keep watching it. Yeah, but I think that there's an implication that goes around that we aim them at kids, and I never have. I aim them at me, and I'm not a kid, but I have a kid side of me that is alive and well, and I want to be dazzled, I want to laugh, I want to be worried about characters, and that's why I love movies. And so, you know, one of the things that I admired about Pixar's founders, you know, on one hand, George Lucas really started the company, but Ed Catmull and John Lasseter and Steve Jobs, is they were all looking in the long run. And we're not looking at what's going to be cool this week. They're looking at what's going to be cool now, 10 years from now, 100 years from now. And I saw Steve yell at somebody in an argument, not here, he was on the phone, but somebody was trying to get in a pop star's new song because she's hot this week into the end titles of a Pixar movie. And Steve was saying, you don't understand. I don't think this person is going to matter 10 years from now. I want somebody who's always going to be cool, always going to be current. And what that essentially means is, you know, classic. You want something that's classic. And, you know, rock and roll can be classic. You know, the Beatles' music hasn't aged a day. And everybody, that's the sweet spot that everybody's looking for, is to feel contemporary, but feel contemporary always. Well, and I think the sweet spot and what you guys did so well, and I love the in-home, kind of the bonus content as you touch on, you know, parents are still going to press play when the DVD comes on, right? They get ultimate control over it. How has that changed, I guess, with you guys and parenthood, and how you, write stories and tell stories being a dad? And I love that this is that classic story of juggling both the family life and professional life, which I know you guys do.
Well, it's funny because I've never had a discussion at Pixar in the 18 or so years I've been here about children. The story discussions and the things we work on are just about the movie and our reactions to it. We never talk about, well, we need to do this for this age group, or this is only good for children. It's not in our consciousness.
And I think the end result of that is that kids never feel, if you're going to isolate on the kids, which we don't, kids don't ever feel talked down to. There's a tendency for entertainment to go with and when I was a kid, I hated that. Why does Bugs Bunny last? It's because Bugs Bunny cartoons were not made for kids. They were made for the audience to see before they saw Casablanca or Little Foxes or these films that are adult, but they were meant to be a little candy before the main feature. And so they are comedy and they're graspable by kids, but they appeal to the kid and in adults. And that's the part that I think is what makes the acceptance of it wider.
Well, as a parent watching, I do appreciate that you guys do that. Gentlemen, thank you both. Job well done again, and we look forward to what you guys are working on next. Okay.
I'm so glad to see that. We've been sitting on that. It's been embargoed, so it's great to finally catch up. And I got to tell you, good tease ahead and interesting answer by who these movies or who the focus tends to be. I know.
It was not what I was expecting for that conversation to go. But what's interesting, tomorrow we're going to bring you, I actually had a chance to chat with two of the animators who actually married and worked on Incredibles 2 together as well. Really interesting conversation there as well, and kind of the process of what they do. So that's coming your way tomorrow, so stay tuned.
Great. Good stuff.